Hello and welcome to the RNR podcast. This was made on the Franklin Language Master.
All right, dear listener, welcome back to part 2 of VCF East. We are still in our mobile recording studio and having a great time. You know, Ryan and I normally record out of 2 separate locations.
Oh, yeah, definitely. This is a different experience for us. This is a great experience, but different.
I like it.
I do too.
I do. I think the cues between us are different in person.
Oh, yeah. Well, especially when I'm looking forward all the time, too, and I can't see you. So that's a different thing, right?
Yeah. It's just kind of bizarre. We're picking up on day 2, and we're going to start at day 2. And Ryan, if they're listening to this and they're on day 2, what do they need to do?
They need to do all kinds of fun stuff because I don't remember what we said in prep.
Oh, they need to go back and listen to the one before this.
Yes. Go see the episode right before this. It has day 1, a lot of information about day 1, and our wrap-up of day 3. So that's our up and down of our trip, of our awesome experience here.
Now, Ryan's really smart. What's the top of a bell curve called? Is that the top of a bell curve? Is there nothing scientific to that word?
For us, right now, it's called Day 2's podcast. It's the top of our bell curve.
Damn tune it is. It was a great day. We started off with consignment. We woke up in the morning, got showered, shaved, got clean. We didn't stink. And then we got over to the consignment area.
Yes.
Okay, this is part of live recording.
Yes.
Is sometimes big vans, or I should say big buses, kind of scooch over a little close to you, and it makes you go, ooh.
Yeah, that was a little nerve-wracking. But anyway.
Yes.
We're good, and we are safe, so that's also important. But consignment, we got there, I think, a little before 9, because it hadn't opened quite yet. It was like 5 till. And there was a line of, 60 people already waiting to get into the firehouse.
Oh yeah, they and I talked to some of the people earlier, like that were coming out with their goods. They were there before the gates opened, so they could walk across the compound and get over to the consignment line. How long did we wait in line before we were in?
20 minutes, maybe.
Yeah, we got there at 9.
Yeah,
I mean, literally, it was not a bad wait. It was really well done.
It was fine.
There was the freebie rack, and so we had to drop some things on of Ryan's. What'd you bring for freebie?
I brought some older UPSs and a pair of little speakers. The UPSs worked, just they didn't need to be in my house anymore.
I did get a freebie, folks, off the freebie rack, and it is the Franklin Language Converter. What was it? Language Master? Franklin Language Master?
I believe that was it, yeah.
So it allows you to put in an English word and get back either Spanish or German or French or something like that. And I'm studying German right now, so I felt like that was a great freebie pickup. So kudos.
Yes.
I did really great.
I think you did.
How was your walkthrough inside consignment? What'd you walk away with this year?
This year was a very light year, definitely compared to last year.
I'm amazed, listener. I'm totally amazed. I am seriously floored about what he's about to tell you.
I walked away with, I believe, 7 CD caddies. That was it.
Exciting.
That was awesome. I needed a couple extra caddies for some older SCSI CD-ROM drives that I have, and there were some there, so they're on our way home.
I can say I did take away some of the things Ryan could have bought, because we found this motherboard. I looked at it, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, look at this motherboard, and I moved on. And then Ryan's like, oh, look, what is it?
It was an Amiga 500 motherboard. It had a little sticker on it, said it was recapped. Don't know. It looked nice and clean. A little bit of battery. The battery was removed, so that's nice. It's a Revision 8 Amiga 500, which is the most sought after one. It had all the latest chips on it, and it's great for an Amiga 500.
And what did you give me, Ryan?
I just gave you an Amiga 500 with a Rev 5 board on it, which has all of the original chips on it. So this is a huge upgrade for you, and I'm glad that you ended up with it.
Okay. He's being very nice, because I was already going up to buy a cassette data set for my Commodore 64. I pulled a freebie, but then I saw one for sale with some tapes, and I bought it also. The freebie was some knockoff brand, whereas I got a Commodore data set to go with my 64. And so I'm already going to buy it. And Ryan's like, hey, go see how much this is, because they have a sticker on it. And I was like, Ryan, what do you want to pay? I said, I want to go up there. If they tell me it's what, I'm going to buy it for you. You pay me back. And he goes, I'm at
$100.
And so I get up there, and they're like, okay, we're going to find out the price. And so he's told me this story about the 8 and the 5 and all this.
Yes.
They go find out the price. It's at $150. They start to put it back, and I'm like, no, I'm buying it. And Ryan's like, what? And I'm like, no, I sniped it. It's mine.
Yes, it'd be a nice pickup for you. We're going to go test it out later. We'll give you status as in a future episode of how that actually worked out. But we have high hopes that it's going to be a pretty nice box.
Dude, I hope it works. Because if it works, what happens is this A500 becomes basically the most powerful A500 you can have.
Right.
Which still is like really low on the chain of Amigas.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, that's the only Amiga I'm going to get is this 500. I'm not going to go exploring into other ones. So it really is going to set me up for the future, which is cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
We wrapped up consignment. We walked back over to the main hall, and they moved merch right beside the sign-in desk. They got a really small room for merch. Great idea.
Yeah, it was awesome. It's no longer intermixed with the consignment. So if you just want merch, you have a place to go. And the people that want to do consignment are doing consignment, and then you don't have to cross those streams.
And then we wrapped up there. We went over to the first big room. There's 3 big rooms, everyone, where exhibitors have their stuff set up. So we're going to go 1, 2, and 3. I know they have letters, but I can't remember the letters. I don't have the map, so we're calling them 1, 2, and 3.
Correct.
We go to start in 1, and the first thing we found was the stamp hunt desk.
Yes. We found the stamp hunt desk. It's a little different than last year. I like what they did.
It was awesome.
It was great. So they had the 4 stations like they did last year, but this time they had questions and answers. So you actually had to, they asked you a question, you had to know the answer, and there's a hole puncher with a special symbol for that particular station. You had to punch out the little box. It was great. And
Did you say they had questions at each one?
They did have questions at each one. We had to fill out the answer. But what threw us off till like the end, because you had to turn in by 4:30, we couldn't find one of them.
We're idiots.
We're idiots because we're going like, how do you find the last one? He's like, it's on the last line of each thing. We never read past the question and the 4 answers we had to choose from. There was another line there where we missed it. I don't know. We all missed it.
Just to get some surprise out, we did make the drawing. Just FYI, we made the drawing.
We got there.
So the first room we went into has Ryan's best friend in it in the world.
Yes.
Who was that?
Eli's Software.
Yes.
He has. He was a reseller in the past and comes out to VCF East with new and shrink old stock games and software for. He had Commodore 64, 128, Amiga, my place, Atari ST, Macintosh, and DOS stuff. Beautiful shape, too. Oh, they're great.
Unbelievable. I got Red Storm Rising.
You did?
And it looks like I bought it in 1987.
Right. It looks fantastic. I might have bought, I think, one short of all of the Amiga stuff that he had brought one of that it was still available.
He went out to his truck and got another box of Amiga gear for you to dig through.
Right, and I picked up another 4 or 5 games out of that particular box he brought back. So I ended up with 14 Amiga games, new and shrink, from there. I spent more at his booth than I did all of consignment.
Well, that's really nice.
That was great.
It was just a flip-flop this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, because normally you go through the exhibit area and you're like, oh, I'll buy one little thing.
Yep.
This room 1 also had 3, 4 other vendors with, really good stuff.
Heck yeah. Remember the one being Tech Dungeon? They had some joysticks that they were making.
Yeah, it looked like 3D printed.
Yeah.
The buttons and the joysticks felt really good.
They did. And they had different connectors on them, and they said, oh, this will work on a Commodore 64, but do not plug it into Amiga. One of them said that, even though they had the same connector. So they were really aware of what's going on and how to use them.
One guy had all the old Mac stuff. So it wasn't this new old stock thing. It was old stock being resold.
100%.
50, 60 bins of stuff?
Yeah, like memory chips, CPUs, other ICs that you needed for potentially repair or you're building something. It was really cool. He had a really good amount of stuff there.
We made our way out of room 1. We
Yes.
got over to room 2. That room did not have a stamp station,
No.
but it was a great room. I know Micah was there, the Dragon Gadari instructor.
Yes.
And he had something really interesting that was beyond my brain pan.
Yes. He had between the Motorola 68,000 processor series and the PowerPC, Motorola's first stint into a RISC processor was the Motorola 88,000. And he had a machine for that box, and that's what he was learning or using Gadira for, to try to reverse engineer what those ROMs were doing to try to get that box to boot up.
Unbelievable.
He's been making great progress. It says it doesn't completely boot. In the speech, he said that it needed the keyboard to boot for some reason. Had to be plugged in.
Why would he do that?
And he didn't have the keyboard, I guess. So he's trying to work around that and figure out how to burn a new ROM. But it was an awesome presentation, or awesome being able to talk with him, and he's doing some really cool stuff.
Now, I thought was really cool, and this was not beyond my brain pan, was the Brazilian and Argentinian gentleman that had a booth set up. Again, new people. That's
Yes.
the other fun thing about the exhibits. It's not wash, rinse, repeat. There are always some folks that you'll see that are doing things, but then there's new folks like these guys. Dude, the guy from Brazil I found this out, Brazil does not have copyright laws. So he had 8 different copies of Apple II, Apple IIes, other products like that were just bizarre.
They really were. Like, there was the outside had an Apple II feel to it, and I think it was an Apple II clone. And then you pull it up on the inside, and it had their company name was a ripoff of Microsoft.
The board said Microsoft in the Apple IIe.
Or Microscribe or something, but it was in the Microsoft font. And it was like a really weird combination of stuff. It was really cool to talk to them between the Brazil and then the Argentina. They had different machines as well from there.
Yeah,
So
and he had a great story about how they, there were some licensing issues with Microsoft that were $5 a license. They sent people from Argentina up to Bill Gates, and I guess he wore them down. They wore Bill down over time, that he finally said, all right, $1. $1, you can have a license per unit. And then these Argentinian pieces started rolling out. So really nice. We ran into John again from the Industrial Rabbit, and he brought us a gift.
He did. He had created a board and 3D printed a case for it, and there's like an L or the arrow buttons, but it's a joystick for a Commodore 64
think what?
Amiga.
ASWD, right?
Yeah.
And fire. And instead of it being a joystick or a keyboard, it's its own little keycap device. And we found out John is like super into mechanical keyboards.
Yes.
And it was really cool. Like, mine's a little more clicky.
Yes.
Because they're cap something, and yours is a little bit more silent because it's a different type of cap. So we got to test those on our Commodores.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I think that's was a great thing, and I appreciate the gift.
Man, John, you're awesome. Netherlands was represented. I think it was their first time. They said at VCF East, and they are from the Netherlands. It's called the Home Computer Museum. I learned about them last time I went to Germany, because they're just outside of Germany on the west, and they're on the east of the Netherlands. I'm going to get there one day during one of our trips, but not this one coming up. But, it's going to be on the list. And they were kind of cool. They went over, they brought some machines from Germany that were very interesting, or from the Netherlands that were very interesting. And I lost Ryan for 15 minutes on an SX64, just making me mad, because I wanted an SX64 so bad from this trip.
It was a fun. I was playing Frogger. The guy had Frogger on his SX64, and I ended up playing with a little Epix joystick. It was great, and he had it linked into the small screen on the SX64,
which was beautiful.
It looked great,
unbelievable.
He said it was an original monitor and everything, and then he had it linked to a LCD panel and a projector, which was displaying it on the wall. It was a nice setup. I had a lot of fun with Frogger. I'm pretty terrible.
He did good.
I did all right.
He did good.
I did all right. But it was fun.
Well, we left room 2. We got to room 3. We found another stamp station. That worked out to our advantage.
Yes.
That we got another one with a correct answer.
Correct.
This was Ryan's room. So this is where my feet started to hurt, because I was just hanging. John and I got into so many great conversations because we lost you to Amiga Bill for at least 40 minutes.
His whole area, Amiga Bill and some of his crew had brought a whole bunch of Amigas and set them up with different flavors, 1200s, 600s, the Vampire Aftermarket FPGAs, A500 Mini was in there, and a very nice display. They did a great job.
Sean was there from Action Retro, and,
Yes.
and while you were talking to GDP, which we'll get to in a minute,
Yep.
I was stalking his booth waiting for him to come back.
Oh, did he come
Yes,
back while I
he
was
did
still there?
come back while you were
All
there,
right,
so
good,
I
good.
ran off, got to visit with him, and we had a real nice talk about his round table. Also, I got to bring up to him that he was there last year, and I went by his booth. I didn't know who he was, and he had a really cool sticker. And
Yeah.
I said, hey, can I have that sticker? And he goes, yeah, of course you can. I'm Action Retro, Sean, blah, blah, blah. I went back home. He's now in my subscribe list.
That's
I watch
awesome.
all his videos. I let him know how that outreach really got him another subscriber. And I really enjoy the work he does. I enjoy his videos. If you haven't seen Action Retro yet, check it out. It's fun. It's entertainment. And it's serious. It has some really good technical chops to it. He does some really crazy things, especially with BOS. He's a big haiku kind of fan, and he'll put that thing on just about anything out there. You know, watch out for the bees.
Yeah, he definitely had a lot of BEOS stuff set up at his booth. It was pretty cool.
Now, Ryan, I don't know how you're going to bring this conversation down to like 2 minutes. You must have spent 45 minutes talking to GDP. I don't even know who GDP is. What's their history, and what did y'all talk about?
GVP was a very big Amiga aftermarket board manufacturer back in the day. They made all kinds of like expansion boards for 2000s, sidecars for 500s, a little bit of everything. It was I have several of their products in my Amigas right now. Had them growing up, and those Amigas, they were our preferred vendor. We just liked their stuff. It worked well. There were two guys there that were part of the GVP support group, a support team that was there. The one guy I was talking to was employee number 9.
Wow.
Which is awesome. So and he was going over the different boards. He brought all kinds of different boards.
Dude, how many did he have?
There must have been 20, 30 different GVP boards that did different things. And he knew everything about them. Like, oh, this one went with this one, and if you had this. And it was great. I loved the history. Highly recommended. That was an awesome booth. I had a really good time there.
Whoa. Is this where you found Scuzzy Blue?
No. I found...
Let's go backwards in time. Where'd you find Scuzzy Blue?
That was in the other room. The Amiga on the Lake was set up there. They were doing some repairs also.
Oh, that's right.
Which was great. He was, I know, a little bit cheating forward a little bit. I know we were talking about day 3, but he was fixing one of Amiga Bill's A500s today, which was the Sunday, the day 3. But there he had a whole nice setup and was fixing things as people would, bring them to him, and he was just doing it live. It was great. I picked up some blue Scuzzies from him. He has been doing more resale, becoming more of that as a U.S. vendor for some of these products. Particularly, there's a lot of Amiga stuff that I could only get from Europe before. Now I'm being able to go to him.
Are we able to link him?
We should be able to. Yeah, I'll be able to find that.
Yeah. So
Amiga on the Lake, they have their own website.
What does the Scuzzy do blue for you? What does the Scuzzy Blue do for you?
For me, I was using a Zulu Scuzzy, which they're like sister products or different company. But the blue Scuzzy recently has a little Pico Pi thing on it.
A Pico.
A Pico?
Pico.
And someone for the Amiga world has they're a Scuzzy adapter, so you can plug into a Scuzzy port inside, or they have an external one, and you get an SD card, so you can now have a Scuzzy device without having a mechanical disc. With that Pico wireless board on it, there is a Dana port that the Macs use to give some wireless access to it.
Ah.
Someone wrote an Amiga driver that uses that same firmware or that same driver capability to give you Wi-Fi now on an Amiga through that Scuzzy port.
Wow.
Which I'm super excited to try out.
I am bouncing back over to GDP.
Yes.
Those 20, 30 boards. I was there for portions of y'all's talk.
Yes.
That seemed to be, and this guy walked you through the evolution of their
Oh.
of their production process or their R&D? What was he doing?
Did some R&D stuff. What were they doing? Why? Here's like the first board in the series. Here's the second board. This is what we added. We added this chip. What did that give us? And how could we cost reduce some of these boards? I found it highly entertaining and interesting to me. I love knowing that how products evolve and how they get better.
That is, that is sometimes during one of my talks, I saw someone with a PDP-11.
Okay.
And they were talking about how they worked at CompuServe, and CompuServe was using PDP-11s for making these large drafting documents. And then at night, because CompuServe did not start off as CompuServe. It was CompuServe, but they were making these large prints. And then at night, they were like, what do we do with this big box? And that's how the sharing of the resource started. That started becoming more popular than what they were doing and making more money. They bought another one and kept going, and they became CompuServe that they are today.
That.
Yeah, these are the pieces of this VCF when you go to that you learn these histories that, how educational.
Was that one of the things you were doing while I got lost in Amiga World?
Yeah.
All right, that's fair.
We had to go back a couple times to that room to get Ryan to see the things that were already seen by me, but we were just wash, rinse, repeat, having a good time.
Yeah,
now,
I got easily distracted by Amigas.
As we did that, we ran into the Weather Channel.
That was pretty sweet. So they had a Weather Channel set up with the TVs. Of course, there were some Amigas there because they drove some of the weather. I think some of the Weather Channel and the TV guide stuff was on.
Wow.
Because I remember those growing up where an Amiga had crashed and you would see a guru meditation on your screen.
No way!
I definitely saw that growing up.
That is hilarious. So I talked to the gentleman back there for a minute, and he worked at a cable company, and other friends do. I think there's like 10 or 12 of them, he said.
Okay.
These guys had, 15 feet of Weather Channel stuff?
Oh, easy.
I mean...
That and cable modems, and you could re-provision cable modems through one of the things. That was an awesome thing.
Coax everywhere, fiber everywhere, all the devices. They were showing scrambling boxes in the pirate days.
Yes, that was great. I may have had an issue where I sent out a radiological event. That might have happened, and then you got to record your voice, and it would send it out as part of the emergency alert.
Ryan found the secret phone.
I found the secret phone to do with that. It was really cool. And, all those CRTs became a radiological event.
So at this point, if we're on the stamp hunt journey, we got 3 done.
Yes.
And this is, we kind of gone back and forth a little bit. We thought that we were kind of wrapped up, and we kept kind of trying to find that. Oh no, we'd only had 2 at that point, right?
We only had 2. We didn't go for where the other 2 were.
Then we did museums.
Yes, the museums.
Yes, and again, what a beautiful little addition to VCF East. And I think one of the things that makes it so unique is the extra museums that are open on Saturday.
Yes.
That are just there all the time that you get to visit.
Yes, Saturday's definitely a busy day, and some of these museums are actually only open on Saturday. Even though there's a big VCF East event going on, they're just open on Saturday. So if you didn't go there on Saturday, you're not going to get there. I know we started off at the model railroading train layout and stuff. That was awesome. I had a lot of fun with that.
Very interactive. Like you could push
did.
buttons to make the trains and make the scenery go off.
Yes, it was really cool. They did a great job with that. So I know I missed that last year, and I was kind of sad. I didn't even know where it was last year, so we found it this year. It was great.
That was part of our recon on day 1.
It was part of our
recon. We
recon.
knew where we were going on day 2.
What else did we find with that recon when we were looking around on this military base?
Oh my gosh. They have a military vehicle museum. They have an interior part that somehow we missed again. Well, now we have a reason to go back.
We do.
We do. But we found, I think I found out about they had military vehicles watching Adrian Black.
Oh, did you?
Yes, I never knew during my first VCF East visit there were military vehicles on that campus. Like, besides the little ones that you could see, like the radar station and stuff that are right out in the open,
right.
You kind of had to turn a corner, go around another corner, and there were tanks.
There were several tanks. They were big. Unfortunately, they had little signs on them that said, "Do not crawl on them." I wanted to crawl
I had
up
to keep
on top.
Ryan off them the entire... He wanted to get inside and play gunner and driver.
Oh, I did. That's like a big kid moment for me. I so want to do that.
What was that airplane that was over there? I know they had an airplane.
I saw that. That looked like that was from the radio museum, or it's like an early looked like early AWACS-y things. It had a whole bunch of antennas across the top.
Oh, that's what those things sticking up were.
Yes, a ton of antennas across the top. So I'm assuming that's why they picked it up. And it's sitting out there. It looks cool.
Yeah, I think I heard a story, whether it's true or not, that they had a choice between doing some remodeling or buying that airplane. And they bought the airplane.
They bought the airplane.
Wouldn't you?
Sure. Yeah, I'm a guy. I would buy an airplane.
How many times are you going to get a chance to buy one of those early AWAC?
Right.
Would that be what you call it, an AWAC? Or I don't know.
AWACS.
AWACS airplane. So pretty cool stuff. At least we got to see all the outdoor things. Next year, we'll get to see the indoor things. So,
I hope so.
That'll be fun. I guess especially that. We did, of course, slip back into the computer museum.
Yes.
And new exhibits were in place, so that was cool.
Definitely enjoyed some of the new exhibits that were there. And some of the other ones.
We ran into...
we ran into Bob from System Source, which is another awesome museum. So if you're in Maryland and you have a chance to go to System Source, it's outside of Baltimore, highly recommend it. All kinds of really cool stuff there as well. Yeah,
you've been out there, as we've talked about on the show, for system repair days, for swap meet days, for ham radio days. So Bob and him had a conversation for a while, just catching up, seeing how life is. Again, that's why we do these things. I mean, you get to see these folks you see occasionally inside of a spot where you're all sharing, something you love.
Yeah, this is great. This is a common, we're all enjoying our thing.
Now, John, you and I made our way into the radio museum at the end.
Yes, I know John was with it. We had a good time in there. That radio museum is amazing.
I have to say, I don't want to cast shade on the computer museum, but the radio museum, they got their stuff together. It is, if something has to be put together the best out of all of them, right?
Right.
Something has to be. And the radio museum, wow, they got like a little diner area where you can play an old diner jukebox. They have a sit-down area where you see some of those 1940s type radios in place.
Yeah, I saw you enjoyed that quite a bit, sitting there.
I needed a break, folks.
I know.
My dogs were hurting. I needed to put my feet up.
Yeah, it's a great place. They had some telephones in there in a old relay switch. So the phones, you could actually dial a different phone and then see the relay switch actually happening.
Those kids were there were kids in there at the same time.
Yes.
And when I say kids, what do you think, 12, 10, 13?
12, 14, I can't tell.
Yeah, they were definitely under the I'm going to be driving soon age.
Right.
And they were having a blast calling things. Like I know even I was by a payphone that started ringing, and some kid was talking to me on the phone. It was crazy. And they had they had some Morse code items
definitely.
all laid out.
A lot of telegraph stuff going on. They had a wire going from one telegraph station to another with the old glass insulators. Really cool.
Now, I brought up in our first recap of VCF East, I like to get signatures. And I like to get signatures and put them in my office just as a reminder of something I've done with the people that I follow on YouTube, to the people I follow online. Ryan at a ham thing, I told him I was going to bring like an 8 1/4 floppy disk for people to sign, with a silver Sharpie. And he found this, 12-inch worm optical drive in its caddy?
Yes.
And
I know everybody wants to know what's on it. We have no idea.
Yeah.
But it's really cool.
The mystery will always be there. I kind of enjoy that we don't know what's on it. Everyone loves to see it. Everybody loves to sign it. I ended up getting Usagi, and I got Sean, and I got Ron, and gosh, who else? Who else? Bill Hurd.
Bill Hurd. Oh, yeah, you did get Bill Hurd. Yeah.
Totally, that was so funny. Bill was walking out to go to lunch on day one.
Yes.
I saw him and said, "Hey, Bill, can I fanboy?" And we're getting his signature, and who pulls up in the car?
Oh, it was, I can't think of her name.
Jerry Ellsworth.
Jerry Ellsworth. Oh, I get the picture. And she's like, "Oh, the big disc,"
Yeah,
it's
or
awesome.
no, they were like, "No, Bill, you're a star."
Oh, yes.
They were giving Bill a hard time because I was getting his signature that he was a star. So
nice.
That's really cool. So
that was amazing.
My autograph collecting went really well this session too.
Yes.
So that went really well. Now we kind of wrapped up after we found out the fourth place. Okay, the Computer Museum had Stamp Hunt 3.
Yep, we were like, great.
And then we found out, as we talked earlier, that it was listed where all the places were. The fourth one, we went back to where?
Where was it? We missed it.
Consignment.
Consignment, which we were already there, looking at all kinds of stuff. And
Five times,
and we did not see the
Five
thing
times.
right in front of us.
Yep.
Because I guess you don't see the thing that's obviously not
Right
obvious.
in front of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we weren't even thinking it would be there. But they did a great job. You had to go all over the campus to be able to get these. And we did. So we got them turned in. We then went to, in the speaker talk area,
Yes.
the drawing.
The drawing was right after the last the panel for the day, which was like another group of people that they were talking to. Why can't I think of
It was some ladies that were
yeah.
involved in the early programming, dealing with music and
Yes.
also dealing with chip working
Yeah.
within the programming of 2 kilobytes, right?
2 kilobytes of RAM, and they were doing things where it's like, we got it down to 1K of RAM. That was an amazing talk that we didn't know
Stumbled
anything
into.
Yeah, we didn't know anything about it, and it was great.
And so that's the beauty of it. They did the raffle.
Yes.
56 entries were put in.
Yep.
But how many were valid?
Of course, it is the answer. 42.
Unbelievable.
That
I
was
think all of us started clapping and hooting and hollering when it was 42.
Yes, that was the best. So it didn't really matter what happened at that point. They had 3 prizes they were giving out. First prize was a C64. Second prize was a disk drive for a C64, and third prize was a board and parts for a chip tester.
Yes.
From one of the vendors had donated.
The Retro Chip Tester Pro.
Yes.
Someone walked off with a awesome little product.
Yes. So it's
And awesome computers.
yes, great stuff. So we did not win first prize.
I know.
We didn't. It's okay. You have a lot of 64s. We
I
can
do.
handle
I have
that.
too many.
You do. We did not win third prize.
No, we did not win third prize, did we?
No, we didn't.
What did
But
we win, Ryan?
We won second prize. We
Woo-hoo!
got a 1541 disc drive.
And it was great. The guy goes, Ryan Stelengum or something.
My handwriting is less than stellar.
And
for
I
my
just
name.
yell out, Stapleton!
Yes, it was
And-
great.
Yes, so Ryan went up and got his 1541 drive.
Yes.
We were seated in the back row because they
Yes.
don't let us sit in the front. We have to sit in the
Yeah.
back. And so we came back to our seats. They're doing the third prize drawing. I look over at Ryan to give him the thumbs up, and he looks at me and points. The people that won the C64 were directly in front of him.
Correct.
And it was another dad with his son
Yeah.
who was like 11.
Yeah. Well, as far as we can tell.
Yeah, and I gave him the thumbs up. He pointed at the kid. I gave him the thumbs up, like, dude, you're making the right decision.
Yep. So after the things were up before before we all left, made sure I said, hey, what do you know about C64s? You know about these? Nothing had a power supply or cables. So I wanted him to make sure that he didn't accidentally blow up his C64
Right.
by putting in a bad power supply. That would be really bad. And B, I gave them the 1541 drive that I
Ryan,
won.
I'm jumping in.
What do you got?
He told you also they had just found their
Oh,
old
they
C64
did.
and it wasn't working.
100%.
So he had got it out for his son to look at, and it was
Right.
broken.
You're
so
right.
they walked into a working C64, and then Ryan gifted them.
The disk drive, because you gotta have a disk drive if you got a computer. It's just so much better. It's gonna give them a project. I think they were pretty happy about it.
Yeah.
And that's
I was happy. That made me feel good inside. I know.
Oh, yeah.
We had a great talk with them. Ryan
Yeah.
pointed them towards some resources online for new power supplies.
Correct.
I pointed them to Facebook, and for those that are in the Commodore 64 Facebook group, you know Bill Pelton. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
said, go join there. Tell them you won this. Tell them you need to know who Bill Pelton is, and he'll help you get all the pieces you need to bring that puzzle together at an effective price with incredible shipping. I'm doing a commercial for Bill because I bought a few things from him in the past, and he is a great guy.
nice.
So that really kind of wrapped up our day.
It did. It was a great day.
What a great day.
It was a wonderful day. I had an awesome day
I love
there.
our people.
I do. This was a great group. Everyone tries to help each other. And, and I think they did.
All right, we then gathered the troops.
Right.
And we went to Ashbury
Park.
And what did we do there?
We get dinner first.
Yeah, I think we had Spencer Reggie again.
Yeah, there was like 10 of us for dinner.
Ron joined us this time.
Ron joined us, yes.
We had Keith and Bart.
Yep.
We had Ethan and Ben.
Ben with John.
And John.
John and us.
Yep.
I think that was... and Spent... Yeah, we got everybody.
Yeah, we went to Rice.
Went to Rice.
Had Japanese.
It was really good. And shout out to Reggie. Made an awesome call ahead for us. It made our life so much easier.
Oh, yes. They were all ready for us, and they had a table ready to go.
Yeah, they were like, yeah, more people show up, whatever, we'll have another table for you. They were amazing.
And again, it came to the bill. Ethan was awesome. Just said, hey, I'll pick it up. I think everybody threw a bunch of cash at him.
Yes.
And he made sure we were all whole. Again, I ran into the BYOB.
Yes. I don't know if it's a Jersey thing or not. We're just unclear.
But the lady looks at me and says, liquor store is next door. So I ran over and grabbed some Sapporo and passed out drinks to everybody. We all had a quick cheers and,
yes.
Tapped off to a good day. But the day wasn't over.
Not yet. If you're going to VCF, awesome place to go is Silver Balls.
Silver Balls.
Nice.
Silver Balls.
They have so many video games and
pinball.
There's some other stuff there too. I played some Missile Command while I was there.
Yeah.
Some other older stuff.
Oh, remember the shuffleboard bowling?
Shuffleboard bowling
Oh,
was
we
amazing.
had such a great time. John was really good at that too.
He was. I really enjoyed the shuffleboard.
And pretty
bowling.
much everyone who goes to VCF East is there. Like you can bump shoulders with everyone that you've either seen during the day or maybe the presenters or speakers.
Yeah.
You have an opportunity to kind of meet people outside of the venue in more of a relaxed setting.
Exactly. It was a great time.
Hey, by the way, BYOB.
Yes. Again, Jersey. I don't know.
We had a great time at Silver Balls, and Ryan, if you want to bring it up, you can bring it up. It's not going to embarrass me, Ryan.
It's not going to embarrass you.
I will. You can bring it up.
All right. How did the joust game go? I played a great game of joust.
It had to be 11:30. I got second place for the highest score that day. So my initials, hopefully they got reset. I'm sure for the next day.
Probably, yeah.
But for that night, I was number 2. I was not Picard, but I was Riker for at least that night.
Oh, nice. Very good.
You like that number 2?
I do like that.
Yeah,
I like that number
you
2.
didn't know that was coming, did you?
I had no idea.
I know. I thought about that night even.
Of course. Oh, did you really?
Yeah, I have this all planned.
Of course.
It's always planned. Everything's planned.
I'm glad one of us is.
So, and then of course, Rich did the. Oh, it's a little hot. I think I'm ready to go to bed.
Of course, that was at 11 o'clock after we'd been up since 7 or something. And day whatever of it. So, yes, I totally get it.
I have to say, phenomenal day. This was such a great weekend.
Oh, yes.
I know now we're on day 2 because we did day 3 earlier, but it was such a phenomenal time. VCF East does it up.
Yes.
It's and I don't know if this is going to be true or not, but what happens next year, Ryan?
For me, from my little world of myopic stuff, is Amiga 40th anniversary is next year.
They've got to do something, Ryan.
I hope so.
They've got to do something. Okay, maybe we should have had this at the beginning of each podcast, so we can bombard the VCF admin team and get the showrunner, get everybody listening to this to say we need a Super Amiga VCF next year.
That would be awesome. I'm looking forward to it. I want to see what happens through VCF East here and throughout some of these other VCFs as well.
I have VCF Southwest I should go to.
Yes.
But for some reason I keep coming here and not going to the one in my state. But that's another story.
I'm fine with this.
Yeah, it works out well. Anything to close this out with, Ryan?
Thank you for riding along with us in our impromptu recording studio. And again, we'll talk to you next time.
Farewell and have fun, everyone.
All right. Peace.
Bye.